if you want to eat today, you got to hunt.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's explain this theory or what you guys came up with to explain the business cycle.
So, we were in the business of doing events for car dealers. And, so we would, when we'd send out direct mail, there would always be like a door prize, right? One of the ways we'd get them into the dealership is with a door prize. So we had this problem that the dealerships they would look, oh, y'all are getting us all these leads, but none of these leads are ready to buy. Some of them came in because of the gift or whatever. And so Mike and I started to think about, man, like this keeps coming up a lot, right? It keeps coming up a lot. These leads aren't good. These leads aren't good. These leads aren't good. And really what they were saying was that those leads weren't good for that event, right? For that event, we would put on 4 or 5 day events and all they were focused on, the team there were focused on those sales that happened during those days, right? And so they weren't thinking about all this activity we brought to them and think about the advantages of that. They got to see your name, your dealership. They interacted with your dealership. They actually came on premise to visit your dealership. What do you mean this is not a good opportunity, man? This is just maybe not an opportunity that's going to close today or tomorrow in the next few days, right? So Mike and I, as we were thinking about how do we present this in a way that explains exactly what's going on with these events and how to maximize it. And we came up with this whole thing. People are hunters, right? But then there's also farmers, right? And so when you think about your business, you have to do what you have to do to eat today, right? You got to feed your employees. You got to pay your employees. You have to, you need money to operate and to run your life at that moment. But that's not all there is, right? There's all those, they would close like maybe 5% of the leads that we bring in 1,000 leads, they'd close 50 car deals, right? Something like that. Well, they had 950 people that didn't close, and we had to explain to them that, listen, those are still valuable. And when we actually track those out 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, a large percentage of those people would have bought a car already, right? So it really just showed us that, hey, when we're presenting this stuff, yeah, we're going to drive a lot of traffic, and yeah, you got to eat. That's the most important thing for today. But also in the back of your mind, you got to be planting those seeds. Every one of those customers that walked into your showroom was like a seed that just takes a little while for it to germinate, to produce, and ultimately to bear fruit, right? And so that's the way we explained it. And really every business that's in the lead generation business, you're not going to close every customer that comes in. So that's where the farming comes in. What does farming in the marketing world mean? It means, your automation, your communication strategy, the way that you keep them in the loop of things. Because at some point, that customer is going to pop their head up and they're going to be ready to buy that product or service, right? So no customers, no lead or no prospect is ever a lost opportunity. It's the way you approach them. Sure, you want to try to close them today if you can, but then look at it like this, that every one of those people that came in ultimately are going to buy your product and service over the next 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. So now we changed the perspective of how people looked at those leads that didn't convert, and now they saw the value in them. And now you start to track that down the line, and you'll understand that, hey, every one of these opportunities was a good opportunity. It just, some of them were ready to go right then. Some of them were ready to go in 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months.
Yeah, and one of the things that we actually did in the sales process was create almost like, as far as when they first were introduced to the offer, is, are you in the market to buy a car today, in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years? And that way it allowed you to put it into different buckets.
Yep.
So those people could prioritize, like the sales guys could actually prioritize, all right, what am I going to eat on today? Yep. Who's in the market today to buy, and who's in the market? And that way they can actually follow up with those leads and have that, because it's really important, especially if you're a car dealer, or this is with any event. Like the big promotion is always on, hey, what are we going to eat today? But you cannot forget about the seeds that you're planting with everybody else that actually got to experience your store, everybody that comes in, how you welcome them, how you welcome those guests. Make sure you don't piss them off, because you're planting those seeds. In a dealership, everybody owns a car. Just about everybody that comes in has a family member that owns a car in today's now, and they have to purchase one essentially. So they're always going to be in the market at some point, and you have to know that when you're in there. So you have to treat everybody that way.
Exactly. Yeah. It's taking a more long-term approach and, view of your business, and just understanding, because listen, it's hard sometimes because you're in the middle of it. You're grinding, you're trying to get those sales out, but you never, when people look at businesses that they're going to buy from, having an affinity, that you got a chance for them to see your staff. You got a chance to bring them through a good experience. Like Mike said, look at that opportunity as listen, it can't close now, but let's be smart about it. Let's gather as much information. You get their birth date, like Mike said. Now all of a sudden they're getting a birthday email on their email. You know what kind of car that they drive. Let's say a customer is coming in and they're looking for that kind of used car, and that salesman knows, man, my customer really wanted to buy a car, but we couldn't give them enough for their trade, right? So now somebody's wanting to buy that car. We might be able to retail them out of it, and now we can make a deal, right? So all of this information and looking at your business like this, ultimately it pays dividends down the road. You just have to pay attention to the details at the point of contact.
And just like a quick example, let's say you're a local clothing store. Yeah. Not every customer that walks in is going to buy something from you. Maybe they don't have the money today to buy that dress that they really want. But if you want them to come back to you in the future when they have a little bit more money, or whenever you have a sale going on, it's just like asking them, hey, if you follow us on Instagram, you can be first to see when we drop new products. Or if you sign up for this, it's that seed was planted.
Yeah. So, I can enlist when I go shopping for my wife. I notice that some of the places that I go to, even if I don't buy anything that day, what are you looking for? What brands does she buy? Yep. All these kind of things. Those are the questions that they're asking me. And they have all this stuff notated right in their CRM. And so now they know when I come back in the store, they know who you are. They pull this up. It's got all their little notes about, what brands that you buy and such, which is really helpful for a guy shopping for a girl.
Oh, especially for like Christmas coming up. You want to buy your wife a piece of clothing. Well, you know what brands. That's so funny.
Yeah. So
from a man's perspective.
Nice if they knew my wife's size and all that kind of stuff too, so I wouldn't have to remember it. And I would know.
Listen, you're in the business. You have people walking in. You have to make the most out of that opportunity. And just because they're browsers, I don't like being bothered by a store clerk when I'm in there. So I'm like, no, I'm just looking.
Yeah.
But if you pushed on me a little bit more, hey, would you like to do this or this or this? Would you like to give me your phone number because we run specials all the time? We'll notate you. I have your wife's information, here.
Well, I have something today that I think you would really like. It seems like something that you've bought in the past. Something small like that. You're like, oh, I want to see.
Yes. Yeah, there's an art to all of this stuff. Yeah. And so if you pay attention to things and you don't, it's all about details, right? There's all of these details that happen every day. And the people that are paying the most close attention to the most detail are going to be the ones that are going to thrive at the end of the day, because they're thinking about all the little things that ultimately add up and make a big deal to people. And personalized service, to me, whether you're in a restaurant or a local business, man, when you walk in and they know you by name, yep. and they've taken that time, you want to spend money with people when they're doing that.
Yep. Well, if you liked this video today, don't forget to subscribe to the MarketingBox podcast. I'm not